Hi, welcome back to Will Candles. My name is Sherry and I make videos all about candle making and the candle business. Today I am going to show you all the equipment that is needed to host a candle making party. This video will actually be one of three. First one is to show you the equipment. 2 is to show you how to set up. And 3, I'm actually going to take you to a candle making party that I am hosting. The first thing that you're going to need is something to melt your candle wax. So I take my candle wax melter. This actually holds up to 14 pounds and I fill it all the way up. And that's 14 pounds of melted wax. And yes, it does have wax still in it. So I fill this up, to about right here. And I melt it, of course I don't take it over 200 degrees. And I do this the day before or a day or two before the party so that I can make sure that I have a full wax melter pot full of wax. And then when it cools off, then it's easier to transport in your vehicle. So I always want to take 2 of these because I would hate to be hosting a party, something go faulty or wrong with your wax melter, you need a backup system. So if you're not able to have a candle wax melter, you can use something like this, which is basically like a electric heating plate, I believe is what they call it. The big difference is you won't be able to, like on the wax melter, you can actually set the temperature that you're going to set the wax at. This one, I have a pretty difficult time keeping this set to, it's like you got to keep playing with it. And when you're trying to have a candle party, you're not going to have time for all that. So I would say carefully monitor this wax with your thermometer. Okay, so now that you have 2 alternatives to melt the wax, we need to take a look at what you're going to have the wax in. So this is actually a large wax pouring pitcher. This holds 4 pounds of wax, and then this is a smaller pouring pitcher, which holds 2 pounds of wax. Now, if you have the wax melter, I feel a little bit safer using this to pour into the smaller pots. Because you have to maintain the pouring temp when you are giving hot wax to each candle making participant. So if you have this, I like to use this. It's just a little safer for me. I mean, if you're going to have a spill, I'd rather just spill this little bit amount than this larger amount. But if you are going to be using an electric plate such as this and you don't have a large heating vault to heat your wax in, then this would be my second choice to melt the wax in. So you're going to have your 4-pound wax pitcher and you're going to have your 2-pound wax pitcher. And you are either going to have hot plates or you're going to have a wax melter. Either one of these options, let's say that you only have 1 wax melter, you would want to have at least a hot plate as a backup, just in case that source goes faulty or it's not working properly. You don't want to be hosting a party and get caught not being able to melt the wax. And all places are not going to have a facility or a stove where you can melt the wax. So this is a great backup. And now if you don't have a wax melter at all, I would say at least have 2 of these. And again, with these, you will have to be super careful about how hot the temperature is. And you want to be able to maintain when you are giving the wax to the participant, which I'll show you in the next video how that setup goes and how you do about delivering the wax to each candle party participant. So for now, we're looking at a wax melter, we're looking at a hot plate to melt the wax, and we are looking at the smaller 2-pound wax pouring pitcher and the 4-pound wax pouring pitcher. Okay, staying in the same category with your wax melting equipment, you want to make sure that you have a safety surge protector electrical cord. So preferably one that has several places that you can plug things in, and you want to make sure that it is definitely listed as a surge protector, and also that it has a 3-prong plug-in, and also the outlet places where you plug into also allows for 3 prongs. Okay, Along with your wax melting equipment, of course, you want to have something to stir the wax or cut the wax. Let's say that your wax melter malfunctioned and the wax couldn't be melted. You're going to have something or some kind of way that you can remove that wax and put it into a pitcher and melt it on your hot plate. So also you want to make sure that you have stirring equipment. So I always use these. They have wooden handles. The blades are stainless steel, and I did get these from Amazon. Also, the wax melt, just about everything I show you is from Amazon. If it's not, I will point it out that I did not get it from Amazon. But I like these because they come in a set of, three different lengths, as you can see. So the shorter one I use in the smaller pot. A little bit longer one I use in the 4-pound wax pouring pitcher, and this one I actually use in the wax melter itself because it has a way of resting down in there and the lid catches it so it doesn't go down in there. So these are handy dandy. I do believe they come in a set of 3. Also, for your wax melting, you want to make sure that you have thermometers. And if I were you, I would take an extra set of batteries, but I always have 2. I always have 2 at home. I always especially have 2 when I go out to do a party. And so you want to make sure that, you know, if this is someone's anniversary or an event, or no matter what it is, if they've paid money for you to host a party, the last thing that you want to do is have something go wrong because the equipment failed or the batteries went dead. So always make sure that you have backup things, and always make sure that you have a little bit of extra of things, so that, you know, it's always, what is that old saying that they say, better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Let that be your golden rule. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have 2 thermometers and probably an extra set of batteries. The other thing is, depending on where you're going to have your party, you want to make sure that you have something to protect surfaces. So I like to use these little silicone trivets, and don't worry, all of these things I'll put in the link below, because if you're setting a hot pot down, or you're setting, you know, if you have a spill, and, you know, just anything can happen when you're dealing, you know, you're away from home. When you're at home, you pretty much know your routine. But if you're going to go out and do a candle making party, you actually most of the time won't know what that setup is going to be like until you get there. So always make sure you have something to protect surfaces. Another thing that is very helpful at protecting surfaces is like a large wooden cutting board, because you could actually set your wax melter on that. You could actually set hot pots on that. That has been a lifesaver. Even here in my home, I have a large wooden like this and this cutting board, and sometimes I use it quite a bit just to protect surfaces. And always take hand mitts with you. You can take something like this, you can take something like this. Make sure that you have 2 of each. And the reason why you want to have extra one of these is just in case, let's say you spill some wax on it or something like that and you need to go to the next set. Or let's say that you have a helper with you, or, you know, the party's kind of needing like an assistant. Sometimes people who are there will like, oh, well, let me carry that for you, or let me do this for you. And sometimes you have a helper with you. So always make sure that you have at least 4 pot holders. Okay, so I've gone over everything for the wax situation, how to melt it, your melting pots. I'm looking at my notes down here, of course. Stirring spoons, weight scales. Oh, I need to grab that. Okay, so I forgot about weight scale. So this is my weight scale. This is what I use, but I do have quite a few of these. Right now I have up to 10 of them. In fact, I just recently ordered some extra because when I did the first party, when I did the first candle making party, I had to have like a weigh station. And I think I could have better served the crowd if I would have had weight scales on the different tables, so that, you know, I didn't have to carry to and from, and then they could have participated more in the actual making of their candle. So I'll show you one of these brand new in the box. They are also, it's just an Amazon Basics. They're rather inexpensive. So I'll show you that when I get to, I believe, the fragrance oil. Okay, so I'm just going over my notes. I want to make sure I've covered everything as far as the wax situation. So we've covered the electric plates, the wax melter, the two size pots, weight scales, wax stirrers, the safety surge protector cord with the 3 prongs. I kind of jacked that up when I was trying to say that, but anyway, the 2 thermometers and the silicone trivet mats and pot holders. Okay, so that is covering the wax. It's not going to be up as soon as this video goes up. I think that it would be helpful for you. I'm going to link all of this down below, but I'm also going to make a list of the equipment that is needed so that you don't have to keep rewinding this video or going back and re-listening to it to try to find out something that you might have missed. Also, I'm going to suggest the products that I used because I have used some things that, in my candle making process, it hasn't really worked well. So I think that since these are things that I have worked, like my wax melter, I've been using this now for over a year. I have had 0 issues with it. It came perfect. It has performed well, and it is still performing well, and it's over a year now. So I'm not going to recommend that you go out and get some other product or whatever. I will link the exact one that I have, and I did order it from Amazon. The exact plate, I may upgrade that plate though. I think that they have some where you can kind of control the temperature a little bit better. So I may link both, the one that I have because I have used that to melt my wax, and I may try to upgrade to one I haven't tried before, but I always check out the reviews before I would recommend anything. I say all that to say, now we are going to move to the fragrance oil equipment that you will need. So when it comes to fragrance oil, the first party that I did, I allowed the person who was hosting the party, and she selected 6 different fragrances. And what I did was, to make it aesthetically pleasing to the eye, is I purchased these. These are actually like oil pours and vinegar pours. You would, fill it up and pour it like that. And they look so cute on the table because all the different fragrances had like a different color hue to it. So I filled these up, put the lids on, and believe it or not, it did keep the oil in the bottle. Even when they were tilted, it didn't spill out. And then I also used and I'll show you again how this is all set up. So I had, I actually had 12 of these. So let's say there were 2 people who wanted the same fragrance. Well, there were at least 2 of them that they could take it to the table. I also, well, before I go on to the next thing, I also had little labels. And this is one from Christmas. It actually says "To Josh from Mom," but I'm going to show you. And these were, I made them a little shorter. I'm tying it on here. Here, I'll show you so that you can see. I actually made these. These are just little cutouts, and behind them, they have a tag that you can write on. So behind here, this says "To Josh from Mom," but I would put whatever fragrance it was, and then I would attach it to the bottle. So I'm going to attach it, and then I'm going to show you. Now this, I would make this shorter on the bottle so that it would be like that, and I would make it so that it would come up a little shorter, and then that way they never forgot. And then that way, if they did forget what the fragrance was, they could easily just flip over the tag and look at it. And plus, it kind of gave it a cute little look. So as far as selecting the scents, and I'll show you more, this will actually be in the second video. This is going to be 3 videos because I didn't want this video to be so long that it would lose your attention span. But what I did is I made these little minis, and it says "Not for sale, smell me." And on the side, it would say what the fragrance was. So they were able to, and these are not candles, they're just wax that I had melted and added fragrance to and poured it in. So they were able to smell these and like, oh, not that one. And then they would go to the next scent, and then they would open it up. And oh, this one actually is a candle. It's in the wrong basket, but so you can make candles this size. but the others are certainly not. So every table had 2 baskets of these so that everyone could take a turn at smelling these. And then they were able to walk up to where I call the fragrance bar and select the fragrance that they wanted. They could just, I had little labels on the tables where the fragrance bar was, and there were two of these behind. Let's say if this was lavender, it would say lavender, and then there would be 2 bottles sitting behind. And if, for instance, there was an extra person that wanted lavender, then someone would have to share with them. So that system kind of worked out well. So I'll go over how to make these and more about that in the second video. So this one, we want to stay focused on what the equipment was. Okay, so once they went over to the fragrance bar and they selected their fragrance, then on their tray, on their table, and I'll go over more with that in the second video, how to set up their tray. So when they bought their fragrance back from the fragrance bar, these little beakers were on their trays. And they would place this, as I would instruct them, on the weight scale. They would tear it to 0, and I would tell them how many grams of fragrance they needed. So this would happen before the hot wax came. So they would already have their fragrance ready and measured out and setting on their tray. Okay, so this comes, let me show you how this comes in a box, also from Amazon. Comes in this box, and there are 10 of them in here. These are used ones. I use these from the last party, but you can see how they come in there. Okay, so I numbered, I wrote down numbers as to how many of each item you would need. So here's what I would say as a rule of thumb. At first, I had enough equipment to do a candle making party for 6 to 8 people, and that's a nice size. You can easily work that crowd on your own. But because of the overwhelming requests now, and so for the next party that I'm planning, I'm going to have to be prepared for at least 20 people. So I had to up the numbers of the equipment that I needed. So I have been ordering things, and they've been coming in, and I'm going to need some extra totes because I'm going to have to tote it up and make sure that I get it there. Okay, the other thing, I wanted to show you this weight scale as it comes. So it is from Amazon Basics. I use this to weigh out my wax. I also use this to weigh my fragrances. But this is how it comes, boxed up. And then you would remove this, and it's right in there. And this is the same weight scale that I have showed you. That and it comes with, oh, if I can get it out of here, a fresh pack of batteries. So just wanted to give you a bird's eye view of that so that you would see. I think for me, my goal is in the future, as this part of my business grows, it would be nice if every participant had their own weight scale on their tray. And I will show you that tray. It's just like a cafeteria food service tray, something to keep all their things organized on, to catch drips. You are going to have to protect it from, well, depending on what kind of tray you end up getting, protect it from the heat source of the wax that I bring to the table. But at that point, it shouldn't be that hot that I don't think would melt the tray that is holding everything for that particular candle maker. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to need, and I'll take these out because this is how I cut them, is I use paper straws, and I cut them in half and I keep them in a jar. But I place, this is what I use at home. At the candle parties, you could lay each one a straw on their thing, and then this is what they use. Let's say that they're pouring into a pitcher and they use a straw to pour it in. That stops the oil from going all down the sides of this pouring pitcher, and also will keep it directly inside the beaker. So don't forget your handy dandy paper straws, also from Amazon, and I will link that down below. Okay, so I've already gone over the glass pouring pitchers, the tags, and the labels, which are these. And you can make your own. That cutout, it didn't come with a cutout. I got a paper cutout, and I just got a black circle because black is part of my business primary color, and I just punched it, and then I put the little craft colored paper on the back. And so you can make yours however you want, and this was the craft string. If yours is red and you want to do red ribbons, or however you want to make your tags, and then that way, I mean, and you know, it's rather inexpensive, and you can always replace it if oil gets on it or something happens. Okay, so I've gone over glass pouring pitchers, tags or labels, extra bottles of fragrance. So let's say that you have, I didn't fill these up before I took them, now that I'm thinking. I filled them up after I got there, but now I have a new storage thing. I think I still may wait. I would, even though that person selected 6 fragrances, I would still take an additional 2 fragrances of your choice with you. Always, always better to have options. You just never know. And you want to make sure that everyone leaves happy. Okay, along with the 2 extra bottle of fragrances, and I put in parentheses just in case, I would bring a small bottle of Dawn dishwashing liquid. That's hopefully if they have a kitchenette and you have spills, you can clean things up. Okay, also to help you clean up is a spray bottle with alcohol, and make sure it's marked, because a lot of people would look at that and swear that that was water, but it's actually alcohol. And this is the same one that I use in my kitchen daily when I'm doing any of my candles. It breaks through that waxy, you know, film, and, you know, cleans up really well. The other thing is some Windex. Windex is a great clean upper. And this, I'm going to tell you this, do not go anywhere to any candy party, depending on your size. And I never go with less than 4 rolls. And I just get the Bounty Essentials. That's what they are. Yep, Bounty Essentials says 4 equals 8. I don't know about that one. But always, always take your own paper towels. Never, ever depend on some facility to have everything that you need. So if you have it, you're good, especially dealing with wax. You never know. They're subject to be spills at any given time. So always be prepared for your cleanup. Okay, so that is it. Okay, so I said 4 to 6 rolls of paper towels, spray bottle alcohol, Windex, Dawn dishwashing liquid, just a small bottle, maybe a sponge or something, but you do have a lot of paper towels. 2 extra bottles of fragrances, tags or labels to go on your oil pours, I guess you could say, and at least 6 fragrance oils, and I did recommend 2 others. The small beaker glasses, which I showed you in this box, and the paper straws, which I showed you here. So as far as the fragrance oil, I think that is everything I need to include in that section. Okay, so next we are moving on to dealing with the candle itself, the candle vessels, tins, and wicks, and things of that nature. Okay. Okay, so real quick before I move on into the candles themselves with the wicks and things of that nature, I want to show you the small pouring pitchers that will actually be on the party goer's tray. And that is these cute little metal wax pouring pitchers. These come with, these are stainless steel, very nice. They're going to last a very long time. And they each come with a stainless steel spoon. I also ordered some extra spoons just in case some of them don't make it back into my supplies. So these are the pitchers that will actually be setting on their tray. So each person has a tray. This is already on their tray along with their spoon, along with the rest of their equipment. And once again, we'll go over that, how the exact setup is done when we get to the second video. Okay, I had kind of left that out, and I wanted to make sure that we didn't forget about those wax pouring pitchers that will sit on the tray. Okay, so now we're going to get to the actual making of the candles. I'm not going to demonstrate how to make the candles, but basically the equipment that is needed. So you are going to need some type of candle making tin or a jar, depending on, because let's put it this way, the candle vessel or jar that you choose has to be factored into the cost per person for you to host this party. So this candle tin, this holds, I think this is about a 4-ounce candle tin. This, if you were on a tight budget and wanted to, someone really was struggling and wanted to keep the cost down, you could maybe go, this is one of the ones that you just smell to check the fragrance. But it can be wicked and it can be turned into a candle. I think one of these, I can't remember which one. Might be this one. Yeah, that one. So it's actually, it actually burns quite a while. But if I were you, I would try to go for something along this size. I think this is 7 or 8 ounce tin, and it just has the lid that pops off. And then that way, you know, you feel like you've walked away with a candle worth attending a candle making party for. So I would think that your clients would be happier if they walked away with something at least this size. Now, the other thing is going bigger than this. You have to remember, if these folks make candles at your candle making party, they have to be allowed to cool enough in order for them to take them home. So they've got to be able to travel. I'm not fond of situations like where you got to mail it to the person or they got to come back to the party host and pick up their candles. So if you stay about this size, and whatever other festivities are going on for that candle, let's say, I don't know, some people have these in like restaurants, the candle making party. Some of them have bars. Some of them, you know, they'll offer you a space to have it because they can serve or sell appetizers. You know, the actual facility itself will make a profit off of allowing you to host a party there. So I would get to the candle making at the beginning and then let them do appetizers and things of that nature, whatever else that they have to do as far as activities, so that you can allow these candles time enough to cool so that they can transfer them back home. Okay, so you have your candle making, tin or jar, what have you. You're going to need wicks. So make sure that you have enough wicks that, I would say a minimum of 3 per person, because someone could mess up putting the tab on there. Some of the wicks could break apart. It could be dropped. It could be lost. You just don't know. Do not ever allow yourself to be caught hosting or having a candle making party, and now all of a sudden you don't have wicks for everyone. Or maybe even a last minute strain, you say, oh, come on, we have enough stuff. You can go ahead and make a candle. So always have a little extra. You want to make sure that you have, so I'll back up to say, if you have 3 per person, do not put 3 wicks on their trays. Put 1 wick. You have those extra wicks just in case they come to you and say, hey, my wick broke, or hey, I didn't put it on right, or something happened. And then you have extra wicks to give them. But on their tray, you put that 1 wick. Now you want to have the wick stickers. What I did was I had these, well, I pre-cut these like the day or 2 before, but I put 2 wick stickers because this is the easiest thing in the world for them to mess up. Either they can't get it off the paper right, or they didn't stick it on the wick right. Something goes wrong. So just give them 2 so that they can just have at it. So one of these with 2 wicks, one of these with 2 wick stickers on it should be on their tray. The next thing you want to make sure is that they have a way to place the wick inside of their candle tin or their candle jar. I'm opening up this bag here. So okay, for those of you who have never seen one of these, this is a wick placing tube. And I never got a demonstration of which end, but this is the end I put it in, where the smaller part is. See, that part's wide, this one's. So I put it in there, and then that way they can hold on to it and they can stick it a little more precisely down inside their candle tin or candle jar. So you want to make sure that each participant, each tray, has one of these wick placing tubes on them as well. Okay, so now the sticker's in there, the wick is in there, they've poured the wax. You want to make sure that they have something to stabilize that wick while their candle is cooling. So these are wooden wick placements. No, these are wooden wick holders. So when the wick is inside of there, I gotta try to hold all this together for demonstration purposes. Okay, so let's say that's your wick, and then they would put that there, and of course it would be stuck to the bottom, but it would hold the wick in place while their candle cools. Another good thing is some people would say, you know, why I like to use the metal ones or why not use these? One thing I like is because on the wooden wick holders, they can write their names. So you can tell just by looking at this stick whose candle this is. So that's why I always choose these. And again, these will be linked below, and they are also from Amazon. Okay, so you know, I had put down here the wooden clothespins. I actually didn't have any issues with anyone's wick not being properly placed just using this. But if you want, you could get wooden clothespins, and basically what would happen is this would be on top like that, and the clothespin would just clip it right there. I don't think for this size, you know, I didn't have any issues, so that's primarily up to you. So that's just an optional thing. And also you want to make sure that you take a box of gloves. You just never know what's going to happen, and it could be with cleanup, it could be, you know, you might have to add more wax. Just make sure you take a box of gloves. So that is it for as far as the candle in the wicking situation. Okay, so next we are going to move on to, okay, the actual tray and what is going to go on this tray. We've already gone over some things, so I'm actually going to set up a tray and let you have a look at how this tray looked for the party that I gave. Okay, so as you can see, this was how everything was set up. So they had their wax pitcher. I also had like a wooden coaster, and I'll also link these. That's what these look like. It's just another heat protector, a folded paper towel. I had the warning label, which was customized for that particular birthday party, and I also had another label that allowed them to put my candle scent, so they could write on there. So this they would place on the top of the candle, and then this one we would have them place it on the bottom of the candle. So they had their stirring spoon, their two wick tabs, and a wick, the wick placement tube, and the wick stabilizer, and then they would have a scale right beside them or in between two people. And that was kind of how the tray looked. And I used different color cloth, and they are allowed to use these. I used these one because it was all different colors, and it allowed each person to kind of know, like if they got up to go to the restroom or get something to eat or drink, they knew which tray was theirs by the color cloth napkin that was on their tray. Also, they can use these. I do have a special way to wash them because they may have wax on them. But and also it just made the table look colorful and decorative. And this is what they saw when they came in to sit down. And I gave them full instructions about safety, about trimming the wick, burning your candle, and went through how to use everything that was on their tray. I did want to show you a little bit about the storage. So these are actually, let me hold them up here. Well, let me zip. These are actually candle storage containers. They are fireproof and they are also waterproof. But I use them to store my candle party making things so that I can easily transport them. So as you can see, all of the wax, the mini wax pouring pitchers are in there. And then I can also label it right here what it is. And it just makes it so much easier to be prepared if you're going to go out and do a party. Also, for this next one, I have, for this next one, I have all of the fragrance glass pitchers in there. And then also, if you're going to be taking some of your own candles to the party, these are also great to pack your candles in, and then you can just put on the label that those are your candles or your brand, and it protects them. And with the handles on each side, as you can see, it just makes it easier to transport. Okay, and to add to that, these are, it comes in one set, all these very colored cloth napkins. So as you place them on the trays, it just looks festive, and it just helps everyone, like if they leave to go eat or to the restroom or what have you, like I said before, it helps them to come back. They'll remember which tray they had. Okay, so I'm going to go down over this list because I want to make sure that you guys know everything that you're going to need. Okay, so at this point, before I go down through the list, so let's just have this conversation. If this is something that you want to do, because I know it may be, you know, not in the budget for everyone. Some folks have, you know, saved and what have you for their business. But let's say it's something, or you may not be ready to do something like this, but you know that it is something that you want to do. So at this point in time, what you could do is make yourself a list and start ordering it bit by bit. Like order a case of the beakers today, order 2 of the mini wax pitchers that will go onto their trays. And also that particular tray that I showed you, that actually came from Hobby Lobby, and I know right now they don't have any more of them. I caught them when they were marked down, so I got a really good deal on them. But I will find something on Amazon that is comparable to that. Basically any food service tray that, like one I was going to order, they, you know, I read the reviews weren't that great on there. So I will do some searching, and I will make sure that you guys have a good tray to work with. And I may even order one just to be able to back up what I'm saying. But at this time, I would say if you're going to start out, I would be prepared for at least 6 to 8 people who are going to make candles. So you know you're going to need at least 10 of everything. So just make your list, order some, I don't know, wait on payday every couple weeks, or, you know, however long, or, you know, or if you're ready, just go ahead and make your list and get it ordered and make sure that you have everything ready to go. But you want to make sure that you watch the second video that will come after this one, and then the third one where you'll actually get to see a party going on. Okay. So that was just FYI, how to start getting your equipment. And I'll also make sure I link, even though these come with this picture, you could order these separate, and it's just really nice to have some extra. So I believe in extra. And then we'll go over, I think I showed you a little bit before about using Canva. You guys, I cannot stress, Canva is going to save you. If you do not desire to learn how to use Canva, and you want to make these stickers, if you don't want to self-print them yourself, it's more cost efficient to print them yourself. But if you go on and you click on the stickers, Canva will print them for you. So, and if that's still not an option to use Canva up until that point, you can always order just some warning labels, so just some generic ones from Amazon, and have them put those on the bottom. And please explain them. A lot of people did not know that you were supposed to trim your wick to 1/4 inch, and they did not know about the warnings of burning candles and the safety things of burning candles. So you will want to make sure that that is part of your education. Let's put it that way. Education should be a part of your party. Okay, so last but not least, I have things that fall into the miscellaneous category. So these are things that at some point in your business you're probably going to need, especially if you do some pop-up shops. Some of these things you may already have, some of these things you need to add along the way. So just to randomly go over some miscellaneous things so that you can either add them to your list of things to get, or you can just check them off that you already have them. Okay, so I'm going to say an apron. and at least 2 of them. And the reason why I say this is because if you can get an apron that either falls in your color scheme or has your business logo or your business name on there, it just makes you look a little more professional. And also it helps protect your clothing, because like I said, one of the biggest things that could possibly happen would be a candle spill. Okay, safety shoes, and this doesn't necessarily mean like for a warehouse job or something like that, but make sure that you don't wear open-toed shoes, because you're going to be pouring candle wax, so you want to make sure that your feet are protected. Also, this is optional, but me as a nurse, I always think about always having a first aid kit. You never know, someone may touch something a little too warm. I mean, accidents happen, may cut their finger or anything, and lucky you, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I have Band-Aids in my first aid kit. Okay, so the other things are, I would bring 2 pairs of scissors. I would bring 20 to 30 pens, and again, reflecting back on the tray, that's one of the things that was missing off the tray. Every single party participant had a ink pen on their tray so that they could write on their wick stabilizer and also on their label for their candle. Business cards. Definitely never leave home without those. Coupons. So one of the things that you could give to encourage sales on your website is to offer a coupon if they order online. Let's see. Candle care instructions could be a card. Let's see. Okay, so I think that's it for that part. Okay, so let's talk about more equipment that you may want to consider bringing with you. I always bring at least a couple of folding tables. I bring 2 folding chairs. I also bring tablecloth and some of my own brand decor. I like to bring signage, like introducing them to Will Candles if that's the first time that they've ever come across an event that was being held by my company or your company. Some of the other things you might want to make sure that you have your method of payment, of how to accept payment. You can bring a cash box, which I have, or I do Square to accept payment. So whatever your form of the point of sale to accept payment, you might want to make sure that you bring that. Maybe you could create some forms for people that might want to sign up to have a party, or forms where you can gather information like their name, their name and their email address. 2 clipboards. Don't forget to bring your own candles for possible candle sales. And make sure that you have some kind of little decor and some kind of nice way to do a little presentation with how your candles are being displayed. And also, you might want to make sure that you have the appropriate camera and equipment, tripod, things where you can do pictures and do videos, and make sure that you have them for your social media, your blog post, your website. So don't forget, sometimes I get so busy and wrapped up into what I'm doing, I forget to take the pictures or forget to make the videos. So that's important. And also packing totes. You want to know, how are you going to pack up all this equipment? And I've showed you, a couple of things that I've used to pack it. I have totes. They're all labeled. When I came back from that first party, I cleaned up everything. I repacked everything, labeled it. So the next time I have to go to the next party, everything's ready to go. I know exactly how many totes, how many tables, and everything that is supposed to go in the back of my vehicle. So I think that sums it up pretty much. And if it hasn't, I will go over some other things as we go along. Now, the second video, I am going to talk about, what time to arrive, maybe the contract that you're going to sign to, between you and the party host, accepting payments, how much to charge, how to set up. So we'll go over some more things in the second video. And then the last video, I actually want to show you some video of me actually doing a candle party and going in, setting up, and actually some footage from, hopefully, folks attending the party having a good time. So that is going to be the third of this 3-set video. So if you have questions, now's the time to put them down below. And if you have comments, if you, I don't know, you just want to say hello, say hello. Oh yeah, and by now, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you can click the button down below and please subscribe. And if you like this video, click like. Welcome to my new subscribers, and a big shout out to my private members. And also, if you want to become a private member, there is a button down there where you can become a private member and get some information and heads up that the regular viewers don't get to see. And let's see, hello to all my current subscribers. All right, so it's getting late. I think I've covered a lot of literally material. And like I said, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please leave them down below. And I will see you on the next video where we get a little more into how to make this candle making party happen for you and how to set your business up so that you can do it. Okay, that's it. Signing off for the night. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.